Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Designs by Dana. Today I am working on a single page layout and I am doing a sketch challenge. So here's the sketch, and this is a challenge that was posted on a Facebook page by my Stampin' Up upline. So she posted this and just kind of put it out there as a team challenge for anybody that wanted to do the sketch. And I love challenges and I also love sketches. So I thought that I would jump on board and work on this sketch today. So today's video has a multi-purpose. So I wanted to do a quick sketch, but as you can see, I also have a new product under my sketch here. So this is the new Stampin' Up glass mat. And it was just released this month. So I just unboxed mine today. So I'm going to slide this sketch over for a minute. We'll come back to that. So I just unboxed it today. So this will be my first time using the glass mat. So I thought, what better time to try it out than live with you guys and give it a go. So let me tell you a little bit about this mat. You can see here it's oversized, so it does have a grid here that measures 13 by 13. So if you are working on a 12 by 12 layout, you've got plenty of room. You can see you got some extra room over here. I'm going to lift this up so you can see the other side, because it does have some bumpers here to keep it from sliding around on your workspace. So I do like that feature. So let me turn it back around here, make sure that I'm in camera. So that is nice. So it's not going to slide around here on my desktop. So I do appreciate that. Now with the glass mat, you do get 2 additional products. You get this nice cleaning cloth, and then you get a silicone mat with it. So I want to tell you a little bit more about all of these products. And I'm going to share some information that is on the Stampin' Up website regarding this package. So it does say that the Stampin' Up Glass Mat Studio is a paper crafter's dream. So the heavy-duty glass mat comes printed with the ruler grid lines, easy for measuring with large surface space that gives you ample room for spreading out while you're doing your paper crafting. The surface here is safety tempered glass and has a heat and scratch resistant surface that wipes clean with the included cloth and water. So no chemicals are needed. So getting this cloth wet and wiping it down will clean everything. As a bonus, this cloth will also clean your stamps. So there's a little bonus for you. They refer to is the non-slip, heat-resistant, waterproof silicone mat. Features 4 palette squares for mixing custom ink colors or holding small ink spots in place while you're crafting. So I wanted to try that out. So I brought in my little ink spots, and they fit in here perfectly. So one of the things I have noticed when I am using my ink spots, especially if I'm using my blending brush or something, these are kind of hard to hold around. So this will be perfect for holding those and inking things and using my blending brushes. So I'm really liking that idea. And then I also brought in one of my stamp pads. And while this space is a little bit bigger, this will be nice to hold my pads in place. And you can see that once this is on the glass mat, it is not going anywhere, my friends. It almost like suctions to the glass mat. So I also put it over here to the side of my mat, and it doesn't have that same suction feature, but it's holding in place pretty well. It's not going to move around too much on you. So let's see, back to the description here on the website. So it says the non-slip, heat-resistant, waterproof silicone mat features the 4 palette squares for mixing custom ink colors for holding small ink spots in place while crafting. Each component can be used separately, or you can use all 3 items together for a multi-purpose paper crafting studio that's both functional and elegant. So you've got all 3 of these pieces you can use separately or together. So we're going to try at least the mat out. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any stamping today. So we'll see if we use any of these other products. But wanted to share that with you and let you know also, while this isn't necessarily on special this month, Stampin' Up! Does have a bonus days special for July. So for every $50 that you spend on my website, you do get a $5 coupon to turn around and spend in August. So I believe the price for this, the price range is in the $60 price range. So just purchasing this alone will earn you a $5 coupon for next month. So I just double checked. This retails $60 US dollars. So just this alone would get you a $5 coupon for next month. So back to my sketch. Again, this is the sketch. You can see it has 3 photos here. I only have 1 photo that I'm going to be scrapbooking today. So this is a photo of my mother-in-law. It was actually taken just last weekend. My husband loves to go fishing, and he inherited that gene from his mother. And one thing that I love in my husband, and I think is an attractive trait in men, is that men who love their mothers. And I have that somewhat of a bond with my son as well. So my husband loves to, when he can, grab his mom on an early morning, weekend, or evening and take her fishing. Now, she is 81 years old, so there are fewer and fewer days that she is feeling up to going fishing. And so this was a day that she felt up to it. The weather was good, and they went out last weekend. I'm going to hold this up a little closer. Unfortunately, this was the only little tiny fish that they caught. So he captured that photo for me. I'm trying to train him better to get more photos when they go out fishing, but this was the only one I got. So this is what we're going to scrap. So to do this, I am bringing in leftover pieces from my Lake Life scrapbook workshop that I used a few weeks ago. So I still have the full embellishments. When I bought this kit, I loved it just because of the colors, and I was inspired by a few things in the kit, although I don't typically use the designed layout, so I didn't really need the instructions. I loved the stickers, and I really thought that I don't do a lot of lake stuff. We're not really lake people, but I was still very inspired by the colors and things. So I'm excited now. I have at least some more photo opportunities that I can use more of these pieces. And then the colors in the paper packet really inspired me because I just love them. And I used a lot of this up on my other 2-page layout. So you can see some of this I only have just some bits and pieces left. But I was excited because now I have an opportunity to use this fish paper I didn't think I was going to get to use. So I definitely want to use at least some of this. And I'm thinking I might use this as my base page. And this is all I have left of this paper. So I definitely want to pull in that for some color. So I'm thinking these 3 will be my primary scheme here. And then looking over here, I'm liking this zip strip, but it's going in this direction, and everything on my sketch seems to be more of a vertical direction. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this zip strip off and hope that I might be able to include it somehow into my project, maybe just into these tags here. So that is my primary plan. And then let me just kind of sort these out a little bit better. I also have some of the cardstock back here left over. So we'll get this out of the way. I definitely will be using some, maybe not all, but some of these cardstock colors. For sure the pine, and I don't know which of these I'm going to use. So we'll just reserve that for later decision making. So this is my main plan. These are my main colors. definitely those, a little bit of the fish, and probably this for matting, and we'll see what else we use that for. So I'm gonna get some of this cut down because we already know what the design is predominantly gonna look like. So we'll get it cut down and see what we can pull back together. And while we work today, we'll give this glass mat a first audition and let you know what my initial thoughts are. Okay, so I've brought in my base page here and I'm ready to start dry fitting. And the first thing I'm noticing with this glass mat is the paper tends to slide around on it quite a bit. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add just a tiny bit of adhesive to the back of this so that I can secure it down to the mat, and that way it won't slide around as much. So that will just help me. Oh, that's still going to slide a little bit. I might need to put a little bit more adhesive. And not that the sliding is a problem, but I just like my page to kind of hold in place as I'm putting everything down in case I need to do any measurements or bring in my T-ruler to make sure things are nice and straight. So I cut these main pieces of paper, and with these two pieces, you might recall these were just the scrap pieces. So this one I just trimmed down a little bit. I left the sizing pretty much exactly where it was, and actually I think I want this on top here. And then this one, I think I trimmed maybe a 1/4 inch off of it and a 1/2 inch off, but pretty much kept these the size of the scraps that I had, and they are going to work pretty nicely here. So this is really the base of the layout. And then I found this piece from the sticker sheet. So there was one at the top and one at the bottom. So instead of trying to use that zip strip with the fish on it, because it doesn't really go in the right direction, I thought I would use this instead. And that will fit right there. So I did trim it down a little bit. And what I'm going to do is dovetail out the ends of this. So I'm just cutting up the center and then cutting in on each corner here. And that doesn't look even because there's just a little bit of this that is not part of the sticker. So let me peel that back so I can get a better shot there. Okay, so then I'm going to do that on the top and the bottom. And then what I'll need to do is go ahead and ink this piece up because I've pre-inked everything else. And you can probably tell that from the papers that are laid down. I used the acorn ink to ink all of my edges, which is one of the things I love to do. I've got that little piece stuck back there in the sticker. So there we go. Now I can dovetail that out. Okay, so there we go. So I need to ink that up. So I'll do that off camera, but that is kind of what I'm thinking there. And then I matted my photo also in the acorn ink. I just couldn't decide on those green cardstocks, and none of them were really jumping out at me. So I decided to pull out some of the acorn instead, and I like that quite a bit better. So let me get this inked up, and then we can build out the rest of the layout. I did bring in my T-ruler to line up these pieces, and I've got my photo ready to go down. But before I do that, I pulled in these die cuts that came with the kit, and I wanted to add this little piece here with the cattails, and I wanted to tuck it under right here. So before I glue that photo down, I want to get this glued down so it can tuck under the photo. So we're going to bring in our craft glue here that's got this nice precision tip and glue this down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the tips of these. and then we can tuck this right on this corner here and line it up with the bottom of this piece of paper. And then I can easily glue down my photo. And since I got my ruler here, it will be really easy just to put that down right in place. Now with that scrapbook kit, I also had several die cut pieces that I had previously cut out and saved in a tray here. So I went back through here and there were several pieces that I wanted to use. So I went ahead and pulled them out and made sure that I inked those up as well. So I'm gonna kind of pull them out and show you all these little fun pieces. Some of them I put on foam tape as well. So I thought this tag would be fun to kind of tuck up under my photo here at the top. And this little fish icon. And I liked that pop of color. And I found that when I did the other layout with this kit that I really liked pulling in that color. So I went ahead and went back through some of my other paper packets and found some matching pattern paper. So this is the pumpkin paper, and I wanted to pull that in as well. So I'm going to pull in some little pieces to give myself a nice visual triangle. So I had this piece, and I may end up tucking that under there. And for the sketch had kind of a large title spot here. I went to my good friend Google online, and I wanted to pull in some fun, or at least a fun fishing quote. So I did a Google search on fishing quotes, and I found one that I liked. So I went to my printer and I used this paper that came in the packet. It's kind of like a water pattern. And I printed out my quote, and I used this quote that says, "You don't cease to fish because you get old because you cease to fish." And then I used one of my close to my heart dies to cut that out to make a nice little title piece for this page. So I want to put that over here just like that. So I think that's a cute little title. And here we'll just set this piece kind of tucked under here. And then I thought that I would use this up here as well, but you can see I've got a lot of extra space here. So I'm gonna trim this down, and I might be able to use this leftover maybe down here or somewhere else. So we'll tuck that under as well. So something like that. I'm not quite sure. I think I might use this piece down here also. I'm gonna hold off on that. I also brought in my little trinket dish here, and the fish were also in this little die cut piece, and I knew that I definitely wanted to bring those in and play around with those. And the sticker sheet, I found several little pieces that I wanted to use as well. So I had to use the fishing pole, right? And I thought maybe overlap a fish with the fishing pole. And I always love these little mini sayings. They're kind of like fun little subtitles to add to the layouts. So I'm thinking I'm gonna just disperse these throughout the layout, and wanted to bring some of the tan back in because I've got some tan here, and I have to think about where I want that guy. I also brought in some other stickers to bring in some more color variety here. So I had some yellow, and I thought maybe I might put this yellow down here, give this a little bit more layering like that. And there's a little half circle that I could put up here. And then maybe put that little fish there. And here's another little half circle fish that I could put up here. Just gonna lay it there. Maybe over to the side. So I want to put my journaling here and then do gone fishing. And either put this up here or over there. Maybe like that. So I don't know that I necessarily need this extra piece unless I want to include it down here again with this section like that, which looks pretty good. And that's going to tie that up. We'll get that glued down and add some journaling, and I wanted to look and see if I wanted to stamp anything on here. So I'm gonna see about doing that and consider adding some stamps and glue this down and see where we need to go from there. Okay, so I added a tiny bit of journaling up here and thought about adding some stamping, but in the end, I wanted to bring in some stickles because I'm really on a mission to use up a lot of my current stash with embellishments and things that I have on hand. So I'm going to use two different colors of stickles. So I have just what they call green and cool mint. And I'm going to add a variety of dots and kind of just embellishments throughout the layout here. So I'm going to include both of these colors in a variety of spots throughout these different clusters. So bear with me and we'll get these added. And while I'm doing that, let me just say thank you for watching the video today. And if you like what you've been seeing, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate the support of the channel. And let me know what you think of the video and any questions that you have. And I would love to obviously comment back to you and have some interaction with you. And I'm going to try to put a tiny little dot on these fish because I think that would look like a cute little eye on the fish. So as I work my way around here, this will be my final steps to completing this page. And then let's talk. Now I'm going to be careful not to stick my hand in any of these, but then I want to kind of talk about my review of this glass mat. And I think that's going to wrap it up. I think I'm happy with that. So let's get the lid on this, and then we'll give a quick little review of the mat. One thing I do like to do is I wrap up adding stickles to my projects. I'll bring in a bone folder or something like that. I just kind of tap down the back of the project, and that kind of taps down the what I call the Hershey kiss effect, so that I don't have that little pointy tip, and it kind of rounds off the top of those so they look like rounded embellishments. Particularly this one's kind of a larger dot there, so I'm just tapping that and finishing it off. So there's our finished layout, and let me kind of just give you some different angles there of my little clusters and added the stickles. I really like that title where I just typed that out on the computer and printed it and cut that out. And yeah, so let's, obviously I almost forgot to bring in the sketch and do a little quick compare. So I held true to the basic design, but I obviously just had one photo instead of the three. But I have this little cluster here, which I didn't put over here, but I've got this down here. And then my title space here, I've got this little tag here. So Yep, that pretty much wraps it up. So I think that when I use a sketch, which I really like to do, it does for me speed up the process of completing a layout, a project, which is a great jumping off and starting point to get my creative juices flowing. But at the same time, I also like to do a lot of the design and creating myself. So my opinion is that sketches are really great, but I like to have a good balance. So they add great value to my creative process and getting the juices flowing, but I also like to do a lot of design myself. So it's just a good balance for me in my creative journey. So they're great to just get things going and have a nice starting point, and you don't always have to follow them exactly. You can do your own interpretation of a sketch. Now this one was, like I said, posted, so I don't know the creator of the sketch to give credit to the designer, so I apologize for that. So this is the layout, and let's talk about this glass mat. I really liked having the surface. I will say one of the biggest downfalls is that my paper slid around. Whereas like the Close to My Heart versus the mat, the paper tends to not slide as much. The other thing I would say is that because of the glass mat, when I'm sitting down and looking at the measurements, there's a bit of an optical illusion when you're looking at the numbers through the glass. So that can be a little bit tricky, and it's probably something I just have to get used to. The pros of the glass mat, it is a little bit larger surface, so you've got some extra room here. So what you didn't see off camera is that when I was playing around with the stickers, I actually stuck some of them kind of to the side of the mat as I auditioned them in and out. So that was kind of nice to have that glass surface. Also, I did bring in the silicone mat when I was inking up my edges. So I went ahead and put it on here, and then I put my ink pad in the mat while I was doing my inking, and just kind of let it sit there so it wouldn't slide around as I was using my sponge, because I like to use a sponge to ink up my paper. So that kept it from sliding around, and I was impressed with that. So that's definitely an advantage. And towards the end, when I brought in my stickles, I wanted to try, just as an experiment too, I almost used the shimmer brush and splattered this instead, but I liked how I used the stickles instead. So we didn't get to messy up the surface just yet, but we'll do that in the future. But those are kind of my overall first impressions. I like that it doesn't slide around, which is great. But yeah, I'm happy with it, very pleased so far. It is nice and heavy, so it's a good solid surface to work with. So I think that just some adjustments and getting used to it, and I'm really gonna like this addition to my tools in my space. If you have any questions about this glass mat and any of the pieces that come with it, please let me know in the comments as well, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much for watching today, and we will see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.